Tampa Homeowners Association of Neighborhoods, and we actually, after we were elected, one of the very first conversations that we had was, should we change the name? Because we want to represent all of the citizens of Tampa, not just people who have enough money to own a home. So we've got, Carol Ann and I have an agenda that we would like to push forward. Our number one goal is for Fan to come back like a phoenix from the ashes. We went to the East Tampa CAC meeting last week, and one of the former secretaries walked up to us and she said, you know, Fan used to be fierce. And I said, sister, that's what we're working for here. Okay? Because it's really about the citizens having a stronger voice. And in small pockets, we have very little voice. But together, we are much, much louder. So our number one goal is to bring it back. We'd like to see 100% increase in membership. That's still not going to get us the whole city, but that's going to get us close. Our number two goal is to be more inclusive, and we're still working our way through the bylaws to address this, to be able to include other civic associations, not necessarily just neighborhood associations, but folks like Walk by Tampa, Sidewalk Stompers, T-Tag, other organizations who care about our city and have opinions and want their voices heard. Because together, we can stand up. We might not have the money, but we certainly have the mouse. And our number three goal, a unified voice for the city. And we're working on changes to the bylaws, to updates, and address our technology, that we can use that to be more reactive. And tonight at 5 o'clock, I'll sit down with the city council agenda. And the bottom line is, we don't know, we have a clue what's coming, but we won't know until this weekend what all we need to be consolidated about. And we can't wait until the next meeting to have a vote on how we feel about something. So that's going to be one of our next moves. And I'm going to hand it off to Carol Ann. Wonder Twin Powers.
First, let me say that I got a cold over the weekend and I lost my voice, so if I still don't sound froggy, but I got a COVID test, I'm negative, we're back, so just such a mind at ease. My neighborhood association was dormant for many years, and we had a big problem in our neighborhood with lot splits. The developers were just splitting the lots with a vengeance, and so when the neighborhood got reorganized, my husband and I went to one of the early meetings, and he sees me up there and I'm signing my name on the committee sign-up sheet, and he's like, uh-oh. And I said, no, don't worry, I'm not going to get involved, I just want to go to public committee meetings. So, but he saw the handwriting on the wall, and basically, my thing is that I see things in my neighborhood that can be better and should be better. I love my neighborhood. And I just feel like we can make changes, we can make our neighborhoods better. We just have to put it in the effort. Are we going to always get everything we want? No, we're not. But I think we can get a lot. And I feel like FAN is a vehicle to achieve that. When we first started, we didn't know what we were doing in Virginia Park, and we made a lot of mistakes appearing before City Council, but we learned. It's a stiff learning curve, though. But if someone had been there, that we could have called and they could have said, listen, this is what you need to know. You have to have this, you have to have that, and it's been so helpful to us. And so my neighborhood association, not just me, but the other people too, started reaching out to other neighborhoods near us to give them a hand. And I just started to realize that, some neighborhoods have unique problems, but there are some things that are citywide. And I'm not an expert on everything. I know the things that I've learned the hard way. So if something comes up that I'm not an expert on, if I can reach out to someone in West Tampa or East Tampa or Seminole Heights, and they know how to deal with that, we're all going to be stronger, we're all going to be better. And I just think that, the saying goes, if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're on the menu. And I think for a long time, the neighborhoods have been on the menu. And I I talked to people in my neighborhood, like, I wanted to do something about it, I just didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. And so that's what Stephanie and I are trying to do. I begged her to be president. I mean, I begged her. And I said, Judy, and so finally she said, I'll be president if you'll be vice president. And I said, all right. I said, you're the only person I could be vice president with. And I just can't say enough about her. I respect her so much. And I think she does an amazing job. You may not always like what Stephanie has to tell you, but it's going to be the straight deal right there. She's going to tell you to your face, and she's going to tell it to you true. And I have a lot of admiration for that. A big problem for us is we feel like a lot of the developers and the people in the developing industry have an oversized voice. If you look at 400,000 residents, the people who are industry professionals, they're a minority, yet they're the ones who are running the show. I've been to several meetings where I was the only neighborhood rep in the room many, many times, and it's a lonely feeling and it's a difficult place to be in, and I got to see how much pressure they put on the city and the city staff. Right. Because they want things their way, they want the things that, they're in business, they want to make money, and they put so much pressure on them. In the neighborhoods, it's much harder for us to do that. Most neighbors are going to deal with city staff maybe once in their life. So that's where the neighborhood association comes in. So someone can call us and they can get help. I think that's, I'm going to turn this over to Stephanie. I think I've said all I have time to say.
Okay, and we have some other big ideas that are outside of FAN, not just inside of FAN. One, communications with the city. It just depends on what day of the week it is. Some folks are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I get phone calls all the time for folks who did not need to pick up the phone. But I also have folks who think it's okay not to answer an email. So those are the folks that we're pushing through on, and asking for meetings, and asking for these folks to be more available, and asking for them to push forward. I don't think this is generally a problem with our city council, and I won't go into details about it, but I think that most of them are open to speaking with the people who live here and the people who elected them. Our other big fish is the good neighbor notices. We're not happy with 250 feet, and we will never be happy with 250 feet. I am a perfect example of that. I live 500 feet from a new community of 216 apartments. But there's only one way in and one way out of my community, so I get to meet those 216 plus cars every morning once that place is finished. Why did I not have the ability to be notified? We are seeing a pushback on it, but we've come up with a secondary plan. And so hopefully their secondary plan will allow that. We want to see it pushed out to at least a quarter of a mile, which is where planning starts. If you listen to the city planners, the very first thing is we start at 1,320 feet and we work our way into the site. Well, why doesn't the good neighbor notice start for that, especially for these huge apartment complexes and for these large commercial sites that are going to impact the entire community, not just the people next door and the people next door to that. And honestly, we're going to work. Wait a minute. Let me see. Oh. The other thing that we have on the table is to get rid of these privately initiated text amendments.
Amen.
They take a lot of staff time. Staff is very apprehensive to touch them because they're not their idea. And it's not their job to explain what someone who is not a city planning expert is trying to do to our laws. And the bottom line is, if we want something done within the city, as citizens, we can go to city council, we can go to the mayor, we can go to city staff. These changes to our laws by somebody whose best interest is paid for by somebody else, that shouldn't happen. There are other counties that they do allow it, and there's others that don't. So it's a mixed bag. But honestly, we have seen it 4 or 5 of them in the last 6 months, and I can tear holes in them. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything. just what I read on and watch on city council. So, families gain momentum. If you're a neighborhood association and you're not a member, please join. I'm going to tell you, first of all, we have scholarships. If your neighborhood needs the scholarships. If they don't, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do with your whopping $25. We're going to invest in a new website. We're going to invest in technology that's going to be able to upgrade our hybrid meetings, because we still want to be able to do hybrid. We're going to buy, I don't know, crazy stuff like business cards and handouts. But we're not going to waste your money. And we want folks to be involved. If you do not receive an email from us, shoot us an email. You all have our business card. You can shoot us an email at info@tampa.org. Right? No, that's our email address. But you're more than welcome to join our email list, whether you join our group or not. We are hoping to have an auxiliary membership after the bylaws are over with. It's $10. You don't get to vote, but you're going to stay in the loop and know what we're doing. You can follow us on Facebook. I'm trying to start on Saturday mornings, do a little rundown of what we need to be aware of on the city council agenda, what's coming up, and that's it. Thank you.